So I was chilling in the park the other day and there were two old men sitting on the bench in front of me. The first one was trying to convince the second that he had to lose weight, but the second guy seemed disinterested in the topic. He didn't want to change his appearance. But the first guy kept nagging him. He said that everyone should follow nutrition like him. And while I was contemplating this heated debate, I had to admit to myself that the nutritionist was utterly wrong. Here's why. If you're into nutrition, it doesn't mean that every time you see a fat person, you have to jump in and fix the guy. The person has to find his why first. You cannot force somebody to change. However, this is not the point here. The point here is when you're well versed in a particular field, you develop that tendency to identify with it. For example, if you're into meditation for a while, you kind of want other people to start doing the same thing. Law number 20, do not commit to anyone or anything. Meaning, make sure to maintain an objective look on your interests. If you're into self-development, it doesn't mean that the people who love video games are bad or dumb. You're just doing your own thing and they're doing their thing. If a person wants to change, he will seek out your help, but until then, you should never be forceful. Do not identify yourself with your interests. Do not take sides. You see this a lot with people who are entrenched in politics. They frequently identify themselves with a political party and then make it a habit to attack those who do not adhere to the same beliefs. They turn forceful, they contend and try to prove themselves. So it's crucial to keep an objective look on your interests. You're into it, but simultaneously you're not into it. Do not succumb to a specific group or party. Use the principles of that community, but retain your objectivity. You're well versed in self-development, but you're not the self-development guy. You are a human being, and you value other people's interests as much as yours. So this is again my interpretation of law number 20. Do not commit to anyone. So I've been reading about stimulation lately, and I stumbled across something really fascinating. When a person is regularly stimulated by television, his brain gets attuned to that same kind of food, and he would start craving more of the same thing. The brain is 24/7 susceptible to any sort of stimulus. This means that you are constantly seeing, smelling, and hearing. Your senses never cease to function. Now here's the best part. The people you hang out with the most can also be conceived as stimulating. The tone of voice that a person has, the topics that he talks about on a daily basis can also be considered as stimulation. So when you're constantly hanging out with a certain group of people, your mind gets attuned to receive that same type of stimulus on a daily basis. Law number 10. Infection. Avoid the unhappy and unlucky. The people you surround yourself with are extremely addictive, so make sure to pick out the healthiest food for your brain. You may think that hanging out with people who gossip for a little while will do you no harm, but on the long run, your brain will spontaneously start craving that same vibe. The desire to gossip gets firmly entrenched into your psyche that it becomes as normal as holding a spoon. One of my friends has grown paranoid about losing his job lately. He couldn't bear the fact that he could get fired at any moment, so he was trying his best to avoid mistakes, not to piss off his boss. But if he had only knew about the 48 laws of power, he wouldn't have gotten stuck in this miserable situation. Law number 11, learn to keep people dependent on you. Completely destroy the phobia of losing your job by becoming a decisive asset to your boss. If you have an irreplaceable talent, your boss will grow dependent on you. Put yourself in a position where if you are fired, your boss will suffer drastic loss. Make others dependent on you, for it will assure your independence. This law is workable in relationships as well. Get rid of the fear of losing your friends or partner by turning it around, in a sense expressing that you are the one who is the most needed in the relationship. If you are indispensable for the happiness of others, then they would rarely, if ever, think about replacing you. You have to be perceived as an asset to others, so they would seldom seek your substitution. I have to emphasize that you cannot act as though you are indispensable. you have to fail in many relationships so that behaving like a king becomes natural to you. If, however, you try to fake it, you will fail and cause disaster. Experiencing failure is vital in order for you to rise in a position of power. So again, law number 11, learn to keep people dependent on you. And for this, you have to possess a skill, quality, or creative talent that, if substituted, the other party would suffer drastic loss. Fit in. No speaking in class. Don't laugh. Don't move. Pay attention. Never forget your uniform. This is what I call brainwashing. From a young age, we've been conditioned to follow what we're told. For he who conforms the most will suffer the least, and he'll be taken care of by society. But make no mistake, it's the biggest trap there is. A program designed to produce a mediocre version of human beings. Society underlines that you are born to be shy, weak, and obedient, and that confidence is not for you but for someone else. But that is far from reality. In the old days, we were meant to be fierce and fearless warriors. We battled with lions to bring food to our beloved ones. Nowadays, the warrior within us had been suppressed since childhood. Law number 25. Recreate yourself. In spite of your presetted programming, you have the power to summon that warrior within. You have the power to revive your cluttered soul. But before you could attain such a goal, there has to be a sacrifice that needs to be made. You have to embark on a journey through which a man is required to eliminate every single weakness lurking in his heart. This is the only way to unplug and rise into a position of power. Perhaps you struggle with anxiety, you don't know how to talk to women, or you lack self-confidence overall. What you struggle with does not matter. What matters is time, the time you've been granted to recreate yourself into a memorable character.